Hey, it's Pat from PJM Scheduling Services. So let's go ahead and update your schedule. In the previous episodes, we've created a baseline schedule, which is here. And so now it's going to be time to do our first schedule update. So first thing we want to do is make a copy of this schedule. We always want to have previous iterations of our schedule files and save them as separate schedules. So we don't just start updating our baseline schedule without creating a version of it that we can reference back at a later time. So first thing we want to do is copy this, and I'm going to paste this down into our update EPS here. So I'm going to just call this UP1 for update number 1. All right. So we're going to open that new copied schedule file, and so the way that we update a schedule is we apply our actual progress, and then we move the data date afterwards, and we look to see what items may have shifted from the previous version. So a couple ways of doing that. We can add some columns here for actual start, actual finish, and we can do percent complete as well, activity percent complete. So you can see here everything is blank. So since this is our first update, say our notice to proceed date was achieved on September 1st. So I can either just apply the September 1st date using our columns here, or if I go down to the activities detail section under status, I can just check the status box. So once I check the box down here, you'll notice an A appears next to the date. So that means that's an actual date versus a projected date. And then you can choose your dates and apply your percent complete. So since this is a milestone, it's either 100% or 0%, and there's no finish date associated with it. So let's say we got a few of these what do you call them, submittals done in the month. I'm just going to drag this over so we can see. This highlights the items that are scheduled to occur in the highlighted period. So let's go ahead and we'll say our earthwork got done, our structural steel submittal got done, maybe our roofing got done. I'll just apply those dates. So maybe our earthwork, say that started, and maybe it's still under review. So we're expecting it back, but maybe it's 80% complete or something like that. And our structural steel, let's go ahead and close that out. And our roofing, let's go ahead and close that out. And say we found out that our structural steel, instead of taking 40 days, and being delivered on November 16th, say we just got some bad news and it's actually going to be December 16th. So it's going to be remaining. And actually, let's do we'll apply an expected finish date for this. So that just holds the date regardless of where the data date moves to. It'll just hold December 16th as our projected finish date. And then our roofing, say we're right on schedule for October 19th. I like using expected finish dates on procurement items just because I don't have to manually reduce the remaining duration every single month if it's a long duration and it's going to extend for a few update periods. So let's see, our earthwork didn't start because they're still reviewing that earthwork submittal. So let's go ahead and we've now applied all of our actual dates. So let's go ahead and we'll reschedule for October 1st, which is where our new data date is going to be. And so we can see some stuff shifted out, but it's hard to tell which items shifted out because we don't have the other schedule that we're referencing. So one thing that we can do to compare back to our original baseline is we go to project, maintain baselines, and then we're going to add in our baseline. So we say convert another project to a new baseline of the current one. Let's do that. let's choose our old baseline there. We'll add that. So the way you can add in like I don't know how many baselines you can add in. Baseline just meaning like other schedules that you can compare to. It doesn't necessarily mean your original baseline. The way P6 refers to it is just other schedules that you can reference and compare back to. So you can pull in as many schedules, I think, as you want to reference. But then if we go to project and assign baseline, we only have these 4 slots that we can assign the baseline to at a given time. And these baselines, so there's primary, secondary, tertiary. A little bit confusing, but when we add columns to dates, you'll see like things like BL project, BL1, BL2, and BL3. You'll see those referenced in these columns everywhere. So going back to here, this one's BL project, this one's BL1, BL2, and BL3. So just know that that's how they correspond back to these assigned baselines. So what I like to do is I use my primary baseline, and I'll put the baseline there, press OK. So now we've pulled in our baseline, and we're now referencing it. We've assigned it as our primary baseline. So what I can do is I can right click on the Gantt chart over here, and I can click bars, and I can click primary baseline, and I can display that. And I like to just use a thicker bar here just to make it real noticeable. The other thing I want to see down here is my baseline, my primary baseline milestone. So that'll show my milestones having slipped. So now I can see here, oh, this earthwork building was scheduled to occur here in the baseline, and now it pushed out here. And likewise, this earthwork finish, this review and approve, was scheduled to finish here, and now it's here. And if you wanted to see what those specific dates were, let's go ahead and add some columns, and we can, let's remove our actual start, actual finish, and percent complete. And instead, let's add in our BL1 start, our BL1 finish. Let's go ahead and do that. So here's what I see here. My earthwork was scheduled to finish September 21st, and now it's October 4th. And maybe you want to know what the variance is between that. Let's add a column, and let's look under duration, and we'll say variance BL1 finish. So that's going to be the variance between our current finish and the BL1 finish date. And you'll see here that it says this is a variance of -9, so it slipped -9 days from our previous update. And you might wonder, well, why isn't that calendar days? You know, October 4th to September 21st is more than 9 calendar days. And that variance, just as a note to you, is calculated based off of whatever calendar is assigned. So since this is a 5-day calendar, that variance is going to be calculated based on a 5-day calendar. If we were to change that to, I actually don't have a 7-day calendar created right now, but if you change the calendar to 7 days, then that variance would be calculated in that way. So that is how you do a schedule update. So just to recap, make sure you copy the previous version of your schedule file, and then you apply your actual progress up to the data date, the new data date that you're going to be moving to, and then you move the data date once you've assigned all of your progress into it. So it's a pretty simple process. Just make sure you're copying over your previous versions, and you're never you never want to just stick with one file and continue to update it, because then you'll lose the ability to reference back the previous status from other update periods. So that's how you do it. Leave a comment if you have any questions. Thanks.